How to teach powerful yoga practices. The 3 steps to master Uddiyana Bandha. Hi, I'm Mark. This is Yoga Coach. It's a channel for yoga teachers that want to take their teaching to the next level, that want to stand out in a saturated yoga market, who want to transition from the studio to online and be at the leading edge of how yoga moves into the future, Yoga 3.0. This is really exciting for us. If it's exciting for you, click on the subscribe, click on the bell, and you'll be notified every time there's a new video. Now, Uddiyana Bandha, Uddiyana means upward flying. So what's flying upwards? Well, what's trying to fly upwards is our consciousness. Why do we want our consciousness to fly upwards? Because this is an important step of reverse engineering how we normally live our life. So what happens is our mind and our senses normally hijack our consciousness and take it out into the world so that we can have experiences, which is cool. So what's the problem? The problem is that as the senses go out and we engage in the objects of the world, we start to like things, we start to have preferences, and we start to not like other things, have aversions. And over time, we create these attractions and aversions, these likes and dislikes, and when we put them all together, it becomes our identity. And it's a very limited way to live. What we're trying to do in yoga is reverse engineer that, is to disentangle our consciousness from the objects of the world, draw it back in, withdraw the senses, balance our energy channels, and then for this practice, draw our consciousness from the base back up to the midbrain. There, meditation comes in, and we come into a single point, and we learn, instead of our consciousness being fragmented, to bring it into singularity. That's yoga. And that's the amazing power of what yoga can do. So there's other videos that teach you the beginning parts, but Uddiyana Bandha is a powerful practice to draw your consciousness upwards. But there's 3 places, 3 areas where people tend to slip up, where they can't quite get it. Now, this is the difficult one, Uddiyana Bandha. There's 2 other main ones, Mula Bandha at the base, the root lock, Jalandhara Bandha, which is the chin lock, and Uddiyana Bandha, which is upward flying. Now, when you apply all those together, those locks, it's called Maha Bandha, the great lock or seal, or Treta Bandha, these 3 great locks. Also practices like Agnisari that builds heat in the body and builds your engine room, and also Nali, which does the same thing. To be able to do those practices, those advanced practices, you need to master Uddiyana Bandha. So I'm going to take you through these 3 things. Number 1, the first step that you need to understand is that you need to fully empty out the lungs, fully exhale. So when we do it, we inhale and then exhale. And then don't take another inhale. Keep the lungs empty. The second step is that you want to mirror an exaggerated inhale. What does an exaggerated inhale look like? An exaggerated inhale looks like this. Shoulders around the ears, rib cage expanded, rib cage lifted, everything drawn up. So we want to do that, but without actually taking an inhale. And where the mistake is made in this step is people don't exaggerate that movement enough. Because what that does is, when you don't have any air in your lungs, it creates a negative pressure that then creates a vacuum that sucks your belly in and up. And now we come to the 3rd step where people trip up, is that instead of trusting that vacuum process and totally surrendering the muscles, right? Totally let them go so that the vacuum can happen and it draws everything up. The mistake that people make is they try to pull in and use the muscles, and it just won't do. It's not going to work. So 3 things, and we're going to do it in a sec. Fully, first, empty out the lungs fully. Number 2 is to mimic a false inhalation. False inhalation, meaning mimic the action, but without taking an inhaled breath. Third one is to surrender, totally surrender your abdominal muscles. Don't worry, your guts won't fall out. Just let them go so that you can create the vacuum. All right, let's do it together. Step one, fully exhale. Did you see what I did then? After I fully emptied out, I mimicked the inhale. This is what it looks like side on. So as I empty out, I'm going to lift my rib cage, I'm going to broaden it, I'm going to lift my shoulders round the back a little bit. And that's what creates the vacuum. You can even push down on your thighs to help the lift, to help the raising of the rib cage. The last part is that you need to relax all the muscles. So, number one. Get my breath back. False inhale. Often what people do is this. When they exhale out, do false inhale, but don't trust this process, and this is happening. Okay? We want to let this all go. And did you see what I did at the end? So then, before you take your inhale, don't do it to stress or strain. With time, let your belly fully relax and then take your inhale. You can either wait a couple of breaths and then fully exhale again and go. And look, when you're starting, 3 or 4 breaths is enough. Contraindications, if you have a hernia, if you have inflammation in your gut, if you're on your menses, it's probably not good to do this practice, so just leave it till afterwards. So those things, leave out that practice. If you have uncontrolled high blood pressure, you want to leave this practice out because it's very strong, creating a pressure upwards. But super powerful to draw the consciousness upwards. And then when you master the Uddiyana Bandha, okay, number 1, fully exhale out. Number 2, false inhale without taking the inhale breath, exaggerate the inhale. And number 3, being able to surrender your abdominal muscles so you create the vacuum. Then it extends onto a couple of other practices. So once we are into Uddiyana Bandha, we could do Agnisari. Agnisari creates heat. What is heat? It's energy. When we build more energy, the first thing that's going to happen is we're going to get a purification process. So now remember, if you do these practices and you start to get kind of that metallic taste in your mouth, or a little bit sluggish and heavy, or a few symptoms, leave it out because the system's detoxing. Now over time, when you detox the system and clear out the nervous system, then that heat becomes psychic heat, and then you start to melt away all the belief patterns, all the limitations, and that process then is opening you up to a higher possibility. It's a step on, but notice that you will detox. And so regulate and do what you need to do. Drink lots of water as we start to purify our system with these sorts of practices. Now it seems subtle and we may only do 3 or 4, but it is powerful, and please recognize that. Agnisari looks like this. So then when you get the exhale and you let it go, then you're kind of lifting and dropping your rib cage. which puts on the vacuum and releases it, puts on the vacuum and releases it, and it's like fanning the fire, the digestive fire. So it looks like this. Number 1, exhale. Fully let go, and then inhale. We will teach you that practice fully in another lesson here on YouTube. But first, master Uddiyana Bandha. But I just want to show you what's possible, where we can take it. The next one is NADI. NADI is once you've got it all, Uddiyana Bandha, then you learn to isolate your rectus abdominis muscles, your six-pack muscles, and roll them. And again, this creates a powerful shift in consciousness. It's a very powerful detox, clearing out the nervous system. So again, it looks like this. We inhale, exhale, false inhale, These are not gimmicks, they're not to play with, they're powerful practices. Don't try and jump into them too early. Master the steps correctly. Do the process correctly, regulate your system, be aware of contraindications, do it in a way that you're regulating, take care of yourself, keep purifying, drink lots of water, and then check out the other videos that show you how to do Agni Sari and how to do Nali practice. The last one we're going to look at is integrating the 3 bandhas together, called Maha Bandha or Treta Bandha in the Tantric. And what that's doing is it's creating this powerful practice where we're taking the downward energies of the body, the upward energies, we're bringing them together. That increases the fire in the body. And again, powerful way to purify the system, first of all. And secondly, using that fire eventually as psychic heat to melt away the limitation so you can open to a higher possibility. So what you want to be doing is you want to be sitting down on the floor. Let's have a quick look at Treta Bandha or Maha Bandha. And later on, check out the videos that go into depth on Mula Bandha, what's involved there, the muscles that you're using, what's actually happening, and Jalandhara Bandha, the Chinlock, the exact way to apply it. But we're just going to show that once you have Uddiyana Bandha, that you can start to do these extra practices. What it looks like is the same as before. Fully empty out, exhale. False inhale. So it makes you have a funny look on your face. But what the Chinlock is doing is it's sealing, think of a pot, it's putting the lid on the pot, and at the base it's stopping energy moving out through your legs into the ground, leaking out, and it's sealing it into the body and creating a powerful practice. So like I said before, we're going to go into detail into those practices. First of all, do these on an empty stomach, do your Uddiyana Bandha each day, practice it, it will come along with practice. But do it each day, 2 or 3, empty stomach, early in the morning, no contraindications. Enjoy the practice, it will come, and then we can look into these deeper practices. So one-handed namaste, shaka, peace out.